So you want to build a studio, but you don't want to be webcams and you don't have millions of dollars to spend, but you're in that in between where you have a small budget, but it's a little bit bigger than what most YouTubers are on saying, hey, build this for under $500. So this build is going to break down everything you need to have for a small to mid-sized studio, home studio, office studio, and it's about $10,000, $11,000, maybe $12,000, $13,000 with tax. So let's get into it. First on the list is the ATEM Mini Extreme. The whole system is going to be based off of this guy right here. Now, it's only about $1,300. It's budget friendly. It allows you to do live switching. It's relatively simple to use. You can also, because the ISO, you can record individual feeds on a hard drive, and if you want to actually spend the time, you could do some pretty advanced stuff with this. Now with the ATEM Mini, it connects to your computer, so you can do your Zoom calls, you can do StreamYard, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, whatever, but you can also just do straight up podcast. It's a great system. I highly recommend it. Blackmagic Design, they've really done some crazy things and come to the market and have done a lot of things that are advancing the field. Because typically in the past, if you wanted to do live switching, you're spending $10, $20, $100,000 and more. That being said, this is the ATEM Mini Extreme is not the lowest end of the ATEM Minis, but I'm of the, if you're going to be spending this much money, spending a couple $100 more to get the most advanced of this caliber or of this category is worth it.
Don't get cheap on me, Dodson.
Moving right along to the Canon XA11. Now, I personally have never used this camera, but from what the research I've done, it's relatively simple. It's plug and play. You have the autofocus and has a clean HDMI output. Now, the clean HDMI output is the most important thing here. Now, if you're in this business and or maybe you've done a little research, you may be asking, Ryan, why didn't you suggest the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, 6K, Pros, whatever? It's simply because you don't necessarily need that. And when you go that direction, you're gonna need lenses. But also the 4Ks don't have autofocus. And when you're doing a small studio, you just wanna be able to have, get in there, push play, let's turn the lights on and let's go. So a camcorder option, in my opinion, is going to be your best option for a starter studio. Again, you could spend a lot more, you could spend a lot less. Personally, in my journey, I started with webcams, then I went to GoPros, and then I went to a camcorder system, and then I'm in the system I have now, which is the Pocket 4Ks and the 6Ks. Now, $1,399 times 3, $4,200. It's a lot of money, but you know what? All this is a lot of money. Again, if you want to do webcams and GoPros, go for it, but this is spending just a little bit of money to get the most advanced, the cleanest, the sexiest studio quality you can get. Again, these guys, camcorders is going to be an amazing starter option just because of the autofocus.
Yeah! Yeah!
And they're relatively easy. You push start and you go. And also with these guys, if you turn it on and leave it on for a week, you probably are not gonna have the worry of them burning out because these guys are going to be tough and they're gonna be like a tank. Tripods. Here is something that we're gonna start getting into a range of products that you're like, hey, if I go on Amazon Basics, I can get the same thing for $15. Yes. But some may look at these tripods, $129 for a tripod. Hey, I can get the same one for 20 bucks. Yes and no. These guys are going to be, in my opinion, the best budget-friendly, sturdy, last you forever type tripods. These are the tripods I have here in the studio. The ones that are not holding up are the ones that we're using repeatedly, throwing in the back of trucks and beating up on. So don't do that. But if you're just going to have a studio, these tripods are going to last you forever. They have a really strong tilt head, and they're going to be able to hold those XA100s perfectly, flawlessly, and it's going to be smooth and sexy. Now, again, why don't you go for a $20 Amazon Basics?
Don't get cheap on me, Dodson.
Well, if you're going to be spending $1,400 on a camera and you put that on a $20 tripod, somebody knocks that over, that camera's going down. This one, I don't recommend bumping into it, but it's probably going to last you, even if you bumped into it, you're probably not going to like come crashing down and go screaming. Now, just think about when I say budget friendly, I have a tripod that's $3,500. Now that's for more advanced cinema stuff, but there's also tripods that are hundreds of thousands of dollars. So like everything on this list and in this business, there's a full range of super cheap and super expensive. For me, these tripods are a great starter studio tripod system. All right, let's get into audio. Now I have two different options here. I'm gonna start with the DJI mic. This is a great solution. It's only $329 for the mic itself, and you get two of them, and it's wireless. And you can plug that straight into the ATEM. Now you're not going to have the most control of your audio, but if you just want to run and gun, interview, throw your mic on there, it's great. You pair that with the Shure Lav, again, $50 for the Lav. You're looking at $425 total for the whole set. And you're going to be able to do studio quality things as far as shows go from your little home studio. Additionally, if you ever start doing field work, these can plug into a field camera like a DSLR, and you can have great audio. So to me, this is a great solution if you want to get away from the podcast mic situation. You've got the Rodecaster Pro bundle. You also have the Rodecaster Pro 2, but that's about
$200
more. And I'm not fully aware of those features, so I don't know if it's worth the
$200.
But typically, if you know me and you've seen other stuff I've talked about, I'm a big fan of just spending more money. So even though I'm saying do the Rodecaster Pro bundle, I'm really saying do the Rodecaster Pro 2.
Don't get cheap on me, Dodson.
The bundle, though, is an easy one-click solution to get your microphones, an SD card, your XLR cables. And the cool thing about this is these buttons are MIDI tabs. You can pre-program them to have different sounds and different options. Also, there's a Bluetooth option that you can connect to your phone, and you can actually do on-air calls. So this right here is an amazing solution for the podcasting. You're going to most likely have better audio output with this guy versus the DJIs, but you're going to have the podcast mic. To me, it's a great situation. It's a great solution, and I highly suggest it. Now we're getting into lighting. Now with lighting, this is going to take some time, and you're going to need to, I would say, expand your thought basis, or expand your horizons. Because if you're like me and you're like, hey, I want to be budget. Yes, you can find $20, $50 solutions, but they're not going to be even remotely good. They're not going to be pro, they're not going to be sexy, and you're not going to have the ability to control that lighting. Now, with the Amaran 200X, like this one right here it's a great studio light. Now, it's kind of comparable to the 120 D2 from Aperture, but there's no battery solution on this. But if you're in your studio, you don't care about a battery situation. This thing can get bright as hell. We use it here in the main studio, or the main key light, and it's, again, relatively budget friendly. $350 to have a full light is amazing. But the key thing about this, that I like this over the 120 D2, it's Bluetooth compatible, and it connects to that Sidus Link app. That's the Aperture's native app. So all of our lighting here in the studio, all the backlighting, the hair lighting, every light here could be controlled with that app. It can go on, it can go off with a button, and it's great. So I highly suggest this as your key light. If you look at this right here, that's going to be way too strong. You're going to need a softbox. Softboxes, like everything else, can get super expensive. Now, if you're not going to be tearing it up or tearing it down and setting it up, tearing it down, setting it up, going with a newer softbox, $30 softbox, it's fine. I like this one because it's a rectangle. Like, even though it's vertical on this and this slide, here in the studio, we have it like this, and it comes down, and it's a really good key light. But it diffuses it and it softens everything. Now this, again, it's the decent quality, it's budget friendly, it's a simple light diffuser. Light diffusers, if you're not using them, get into it. All right, now we're getting into, I keep saying the same thing over and over about how you really got to think about it, because most people think, hey, I have my cameras, I have the ATEM, I don't need anything else, I have some audio. But lighting is so important. Now that you have the Amaran 200X with the key light, you got to have some fill lights and you got to have a hair light. So this bundle, you can get for 720 bucks, you get 3 of the P60Xs. Now you can buy these individually for like 250 bucks, but these are great. They're cost effective, it's budget friendly, and it also connects to that Sidus link that I was talking about before for the Bluetooth compatible. Now you put the Amaran, or you put the 200X in the middle, you put 2 of those on the side, put one of those behind you, and you're off to the races. And it's good, it's easy, it looks so much better. It's crazy. You throw a little bit of lighting and all of a sudden everything looks sexy and good. Again, the common theme of this whole video is, why do I need that, Ryan? Why do I need this? Well, if you're trying to get the sexiest studio at the most cost-effective range, this is how you do it. Now, the P60Cs, these are full RGB panels. You're not going to be using these for fill lights or key lights, or you could, but I suggest using these to shape the room. You can completely transform your set, your room with lighting. If you look here, we've got some blue lighting, some purple lighting, and all that can be done with these types of lights. Now, you can have them up at the ceilings, you can have them on the floor, and they also have effects to them. So if you want to have like a fire scene, you can, turn the fire on. But here, $1,000, you get 3 of them. Again, this is more of a luxury. If you had to cut one thing out of everything here, you're probably cutting this. But for me, this is one of the first things you should get, just because I love RGB lights. I think they're effective. I think they're great. They're sexy, and I'm an Aperture fanboy. So $1,000 on these things may seem excessive. I think we have 6 or 9 of these guys. I don't know. Now, moving on to accent lighting. So we talked about those P60Cs where they will splash entire walls. The Amaran T4Cs, these are tube lighting. These are going to be more for on camera, like behind the people. We had one here a second ago, but I think the guys opted not to use it, which is fine. It's up to them. But what you would have normally do is, if you ever see those music videos where you have the tube lights, that's what these guys are. Now, on Facebook, somebody had mentioned, because I had mentioned getting these, on Facebook, somebody mentioned that, well, I can get something for 1/4 the price. I was like, you can, but it's gonna be cheap. It's gonna be not that effective. These guys, again, have the full Bluetooth Sidus link app. They're great quality, and they're great looking on camera. When you're watching your next music video or anything like on YouTube, start looking in the background, and I guarantee you start seeing some of these lights. Now, if you're gonna get those lights, here's some stands. The only reason I included in this is because sometimes the connectors and the adapters and the stands are hard to find. These are great quality, 140 bucks. You get 2 of them because you got 2 of those tube lights, and you're off to the races. If you're in the home, you probably don't need this, but if you're in an office, you're gonna be your scissor mounts. In your office panels up top, you have the metal stripping between them. What those guys do is they clamp on them, and it has a baby pin that hangs below it. And with that baby pin, you can connect to that. So this bundle actually comes 31, you get 4 of them. So I say get 2 of them so you can have 8 of them. And you're gonna have them all over the ceiling, but you're gonna have a lot of lighting. In addition, with those impact baby pins, you're gonna need a way to mount and control the lights onto that baby pin. So these right here, the Kupo Super Knuckles, again, you're looking at going $70 for one of these. Is it worth it? I actually think so, because you need to be able to have something that's going to not break on you, it's not going to move on you, and it's gonna be sturdy and dependable. These guys, you can tighten them and lock them down. I was talking to one of the guys in the studio, and there's so many options and solutions out there that over time, the pressure and the weight moves it. These guys, you ratchet down and it's gonna stay there for forever. So if you look on this, this part will connect to the baby pin, and then the screw will connect to the lighting. Now, for this lighting, you're gonna be using it for all the aperture, the Amarans, the square lights, the P60Xs, and the P60Cs. So this is a great solution for that. Getting into totals. You can look at this, it's easy, it's pretty straightforward. It's about, like, if going off of Amazon prices of today, it's about $10,500 pre-tax. Is $10,500 expensive? You're damn right it is. But is it $100,000? Is it $200,000? No. So this is your solution if you're like, hey, I want to start doing content for the office. I want to start doing content for my personal use. And this is everything you'll need to get off the races. To put it in perspective, the ATEM that we have is that one piece of kit is more expensive than this entire list. Now, I say that only to reinforce that there's a sliding scale of equipment. You look at the cameras. The cameras on this list, I think, were $1,300 a pop. A red Komodo is like $6,000. An Ari is like $100,000. And then there's $1 million cameras out there. So again, the spectrum is wide. I'm a firm believer that you never go to the cheapest thing and you try to get as close to prosumer as possible. I hope that helped. If you liked it, make sure you subscribe. Leave in the comments below. I should have a link for everything here below. Those are affiliate links, so if you buy it, maybe I make some money.